Joining us. We begin today's newscast with the swearing in of the new Tobago House of Assembly. As we speak, Chief Secretary Fali Augustine, along with his 14 assemblymen, are being sworn in at the Tobago House of Assembly in Scarborough. The historic swearing-in comes after the Tobago People's Party made a clean sweep in Monday's THA election, winning all 15 seats across the island. As a result, Augustine has been re-elected as Chief Secretary for a second consecutive term.
I, Fali Chavez Augustine, having been elected an assemblyman for Tobago, do solemnly affirm that I bear true faith and allegiance to Trinidad and Tobago, will uphold the Constitution and the law, and will conscientiously and impartially discharge the duties and responsibilities of assemblyman that I am now about to assume.
Well, following the result of the election, the position of minority leader remains vacant. Sitting at Augustine's right hand once more, Faith Brabner has been re-elected as Deputy Chief Secretary. Assemblyman Niall George has also been appointed as the THA's new presiding officer.
I, Niall George, having been elected presiding officer of the Tobago House of Assembly, do solemnly affirm that I will bear true faith and allegiance to Trinidad and Tobago and will uphold the Constitution and the law, that I will conscientiously, impartially, and to the best of my knowledge, judgment, and ability discharge the functions of my office.
Present at this morning's swearing-in are President Christine Kangaloo, Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar, Attorney General John Jeremy, Opposition Leader Penelope Beckles, as well as other members of Parliament. On to some other developments now. Teachers President Crystal Ashe is apologizing to teachers across the country. Ashe says the Chief Personnel Officer, Dr. Daryl Dindial, and Finance Minister Devendranath Tanku have gone back on verbal promises to adjust teachers' salary and make payments this month. Tutors President says he spoke with the Chief Personnel Officer last night, who informed him that the Finance Minister has asked for additional information before any adjustments can be made. But for now, there will be no payments.
Just last night, I would have had a conversation with the Chief Personnel Officer, Dr. Commander Daryl Dindial. And information coming out of that is that he would have met with the Minister of Finance, Mr. Tanku, and long and short is that our teachers will not be receiving the remuneration package as was promised previously.
Ashe says Tutor will continue to fight and advocate for teachers and is seeking clarity from the Finance Minister on what is needed to move forward.
What exactly was not presented, what would have held back the cabinet note and so on, we need some details because we need some clarity. So we're going to ask for it in writing. We're going to ask also for a definitive date. So we're going to ask for it in writing this time as to when the payments are expected to be made. Give us it in writing. You can't just be, you can't be doing these things and just changing and moving the goalposts and so on.
To news of crime now, 3 murders last night pushed the murder toll to 17 for the year. In the first incident, a fruit vendor was shot dead outside a supermarket compound in Chamflair at around 8:30 p.m. 43-year-old Jerome Joseph was at his stall near Food Basket on the Eastern Main Road when security of the supermarket reported hearing gunshots. Police arrived minutes later and saw Joseph lying on the ground. Just over 2 hours later, a passerby went to the San Rafael police station and told officers that he saw a man lying on the road near Cost Cutter's warehouse. Around 11 p.m., they found the body of an unidentified male with gunshot wounds. Police say the man is of African descent, approximately 5 feet 7 inches tall, brown skin with a short black afro hairstyle. He was wearing a white jersey as well as a white short pants with a black sneakers. Police are also investigating a suspected murder in Morva, but the details on that killing have not yet been made available. Moving on, the Media Association of Trinidad and Tobago is calling for compensation and severance benefits for Newsday employees, and that consideration also be given to temporary employees and freelancers. The executive notes that employees have served Newsday with distinction and dedication over its 32 years in operation, even amid an ever-changing media landscape. Matt urges that all affected employees be treated with the respect and dignity they deserve. Employees now working on a digital publication do not know whether they will be paid for the month of January. Now, Matt says employees were not consulted before the winding up of the company and only heard minutes before the last hard copy edition was about to go to press. Meanwhile, temporary housing accommodation has been provided to families displaced by a fire in Fort Picton, Laventille. The fire claimed the life of Verna Regal. The accommodation was arranged through the Housing Development Corporation at a nearby housing development after a request for assistance from Member of Parliament for Laventille West, Karim Marcel. The Minister of Housing, Philip Alexander, presented keys to the Regal and Cabrera families, granting access to emergency shelter. The ministry said the intervention was aimed at ensuring the families had immediate accommodation following the incident. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back.
Things don't always go as expected. Be ready with Trinry for auto, home, business and group life. Call us at 800-TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Huge insurance premium. Pay your premiums bit by bit with FlexiPay from Trinry. For more manageable auto, home and commercial insurance payments, call us at 800-TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Trinry, premier insurance coverage for less.
When the carnival pace pick up, Royal Castle is the most tasty and convenient stop.
Welcome to Royal Castle's drive-thru.
Whether we heading to the beach with chicken buckets and sides, having a house line with all the combos and sandwiches, or we stop by the castle to eat before the fete. Royal Castle local flavor is always part of the carnival.
To news of sport now, West Indies under-19 cricketers started their ICC under-19 World Cup with a 5-wicket win over Tanzania at Namibia today. The Caribbean team sent Tanzania in to bat first and bowled the opposition for 122, with Vital Lewis the pick of the bowlers with 3 for 23. Micah McKenzie took 2 for 15, and man of the match, Shaquan Bell, took 2 for 23. In reply, West Indies got 52 from Tanaz Francis and 44 from Joel Andrew as they reached 224 for 5 in 21 overs to win by 5 wickets. They next play Afghanistan on Sunday. And cycling coach Chris Gill is calling for reform of the Cycling Federation. Speaking on the Morning Shot today, the former Cycling Federation president called for the change in light of the ongoing impasse between the federation and some cyclists over qualification for the World Championships.
What it clearly shows is that the current selection policy by the Trinidad and Tobago Cycling Federation needs modifying, changing, probably altering altogether. It also shows that the people who are in charge of the racing committee or racing aspect of cycling they lack the understanding of what top class athletes currently have to go through in terms of their preparation and training for world-class events.
Well, that's for sport. It's back to a break.
Get ready for the grand opening of Calypso Review 2026 at the Arima Velodrome on Friday, January 23rd from 8 p.m. with Sugar Aloes along with the review stars Pink Panther, Skatey, Devon Seal, Singing Sonia, Michelle Henry, Mighty Diamond, Saint Nick, Nicole Grace, Maze, JD, Fire Tender, Sasha and Moses, Tempo, Black Prince, Nisa, Alana Sinette, Lakaman, Orlando Octave from Barbados, Mighty Gabby, your MCs, Marcus Batiste, Tommy Joseph, and the chairman. Admission $150. Tickets for Arima at Michelle's Fashions, Massey Stores Broadway Arima, and at the door till showtime. Then on Saturday, January 24th, it's the grand opening of the review tent at the SWWTU Hall, right around Port of Spain. Showtime 8 p.m. Admission $200. Tickets for the Port of Spain show at the review box office, SWWTU Hall.
Advance your career and increase your earning potential with the University of Bedfordshire's MBA program at CTS College. This UK-accredited MBA is globally and ACTT recognized and is the most affordable in Trinidad and Tobago. With 6 intakes per year and the option to study 1 unit at a time, you can complete the general MBA or one of 6 specializations in 12 months. And with flexible entry requirements and payment options, students with various backgrounds can enroll. Contact CTS College today and find out how you can get $12,000 off.
Venezuela's interim president, Delcy Rodriguez, says her government will continue releasing prisoners detained under ousted President Nicolas Maduro. Speaking in her first address since Maduro was ousted by the United States, Rodriguez said the process is not complete and described it as part of a new political movement. Human rights groups have criticized the releases as slow and lacking transparency. At least 60 detainees have been released, including several political prisoners. The U.S. claims the releases are due to American pressure, a claim Rodriguez denies, saying Maduro started the process last year. For the first time in history, NASA is returning 4 astronauts early from the International Space Station due to a medical concern. Here's more in this report.
The decimal 6 Bravo is now complete, so we are closing the Dragon hatch for the detail.
4 astronauts from a 7-member crew are headed down to Earth. Wednesday afternoon, they prepared to close the hatch on their spacecraft and bid farewell to the International Space Station a month ahead of schedule.
They are working through pre-departure preparations, running through several checklists.
This after one crew member, who NASA has not identified, experienced an undisclosed medical issue that prompted NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman to call them home. The unnamed crew member is said to be in stable condition. One retired astronaut speculates the issue was beyond what an onboard medical kit could treat.
You can intubate, you can do stitches, you can pull a tooth, all very minor stuff. But this is key to me because they're having to come home.
The departing astronauts closed the hatch on the SpaceX capsule around 3:30 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday and undocked from the International Space Station at roughly 5 p.m.
Undocking confirmed.
They're expected to eventually splash down off the coast of California around 3:40 a.m. Thursday morning.
On all the re-entries, once you splash down and land, the recovery boats have medical people on board. That's the standard. So everyone gets checked out anyway.
NASA postponed a scheduled spacewalk due to the medical concern. Now there's no word on when the spacewalk will be rescheduled.
SpaceX copies.
I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
Well, federal prosecutors in Minnesota have quit amid pressure from the Trump administration to scrutinize the victim in the shooting death probe of Rennie Good. Here's more from CNN.
The pushback in Minnesota is increasing. Not only is the now daily tug of war between federal law enforcement and the people on the ground physical, it's also ratcheting up legally. The day after DHS was slapped with a lawsuit accusing it of unlawfully commandeering state resources, members of the Congressional Progressive Caucus announced they will move to temporarily defund immigration enforcement operations.
We cannot and we should not continue to fund agencies that operate with impunity.
Also Tuesday, the first assistant U.S. attorney in Minneapolis and at least 5 other federal prosecutors resigned amid pressure from the Trump administration on how to handle the case of Rennie Good, who was fatally shot by an ICE agent in the city last week.
When you see wholesale resignations like this, it's very concerning.
Since then, federal law enforcement sources say around 1,000 additional U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents are expected to deploy to Minneapolis. Undeterred, President Donald Trump announced Tuesday that the federal government will not make any payments to sanctuary cities or states starting February 1st. The lawsuit filed Monday by the state of Minnesota and the Twin Cities, Minneapolis and St. Paul, accuses DHS of violating the 10th Amendment, interfering with Minnesota's authority to govern and disregarding state law. I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
Well, here's Jean-Marc Rampersad with your weather forecast.
Overnight, we had several showers, with 1 or 2 of them becoming heavy at times over eastern areas of Trinidad. Some isolated showers also continued this morning over both islands. For the remainder of the day, we can expect these odd showers to continue, sometimes accompanied by breezy or gusty conditions. Looking ahead, these brisk isolated showers are expected to continue overnight and into tomorrow. The Saharan dust is also present, but in a low concentration, decreasing over the weekend but returning late on Monday.
Well, thank you for joining us for a look at the day's developments so far. We'll have these stories and so much more coming up for you in a Midday Newscast at 7 p.m. today. Until then, have a great day.